name is Liz Partsch,
And I am Paul Rowley.
and welcome to Farm and Dairy's weekly rundown.
Where we will be giving you a rundown of all of the news that happened in the last week. And
Yes.
there was a lot of news that happened in the last week.
As per usual.
I know. It was very busy.
Yeah,
Would you like me to get us started?
I would, yes.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll take it from here. Wow. I'm not even sure how to introduce this one, but it was so let's just get started. We'll dive right in. So we're gonna open up this tale actually with this person named Taylor Robb. She is an experienced horse trainer. She told me actually that she learned how to ride horses. She was riding horses before she learned how to walk, is how she kind of described it for me.
Cool.
She had actually been preparing for a very busy November. Welcome to November, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
At Pure Gold Stables, which is located in Salem Township, Ohio. And she was ready to lease the property from owner Heather Birkmeyer, planning on hosting horse shows, boarding new horses, and then offering training sessions as well. It was sort of a lease to own situation. It was all sort of a verbal agreement based kind of thing, the lease at least. All of those plans that Taylor Robb had came to a sudden halt on October 26th when a farrier made a very gruesome discovery. The skeletal remains of 4 horses locked inside of a round pen on the property of Pure Gold Stables.
Wow. That's terrifying.
Yes. And we're talking skeletal remains. So let me kind of paint the picture. So according to Columbiana County, the Columbiana County Sheriff's report that was produced after the discovery, the pens were essentially like chewed up severely from the inside because there was teeth marks on the wood showing that the horses tried to like escape.
I don't know if I like this story. This is
making
me really sad.
Did I love it? No, I didn't. But anyway, it's my job. So at least we're now talking about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There were buckets that were in the pens and they had like remnants of straw is how it was described in the report. The horses were still draped in winter coats or what was left of them, suggesting that they had died much earlier, most likely like last winter. Is that they were wearing these coats and then were there for the preceding or the next year and then they were found. Robb immediately called authorities after this discovery was made, and she maintains that she believes that the horses were left inside this enclosure, this round pen, where they starved to death. From the beginning of her this lease that she was pursuing with the property owner, she said that there were warning signs. By the way, I did try to contact the property owner. I was not able to reach her. So we just want to establish that as well. After they agreed for Taylor Robb to come onto the property and lease it from Heather Birkmeyer, Birkmeyer restricted Taylor Robb's access to parts of the property, including the round pen, citing, she said that there was like furniture stored in there and like equipment and stuff. Like, don't go in there. You're not allowed to go in there.
Seems suspicious.
A little suspicious.
Like, what else?
Right. At the time,
have in there?
Right. At the time, Taylor was not thinking that there were corpses of horses in there. So she just was like, okay, fine. That's no problem. When she began to move in on October 18th into the property, Robb noticed some red flags. Birkmeyer had 7 horses of her own on the property. 2 were in very poor condition, the horses, and there was no feed or water being provided to those horses. And so Robb stepped in and actually spent her own money on food and supplies to take care of all of the horses in the midst of planning for like new boarders to come in and to hold an open house that was supposed to be like very soon. And there was actually Heather Birkmeyer apparently offered her like money off of the following month's lease if she agreed to take care of all of the horses instead, which was like beyond what she had originally signed up for. Then came the discovery of the skeletal remains on the 26th of October. The farrier opened the door of this round pen, apparently having missed the memo that this was like a restricted area, and discovered the remains. Robb called the police and then a veterinarian. Later that night, more remains were reportedly found in the woods behind the property.
More remains.
There's more remains like in the woods. So this is where the story might end. It might just might be getting started. So anyway, the The sheriff's
Wow.
report, the sheriff's report notes that Berkmeyer, when questioned, suggested that the horses might have been poisoned and blamed like a former employee, but she didn't have any evidence to back that up at the time as to explaining whether the horses in the round pen, what had actually happened to them. She has, according to the report, she had previously received complaints from employees about neglect of the horses on her property. And the case has now been referred to the Columbiana County Humane Society and the County Prosecutor's Office for review. There's also a change.org petition currently online. And it basically is asking for the Humane Society to release its existing files on Pure Gold to the prosecutor. And it has about 12,000 signatures right now, a little under 12,000. And so it's really like a strong, indication and sign that the community, equestrian folks and all of
people just want answers and they want justice as well.
for
Did you
what
include
happened.
the link in the story?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So definitely look at that.
Yeah.
Despite the trauma, Rob told me that there is one like small silver lining in all of this, which is the outpouring of support from the local horse community. And she said that it's wonderful to see so many people who care so much to really want to make a change and get justice for these horses.
Wow.
So to read more about that, you can check out the story in this week's paper. Woo!
Wow, Paul.
Yeah, it's a real heavy
my.
one. Yeah.
You've written about death, I think, a lot here. You're like
I'm the
our
Grim
death
Reaper
reporter.
of Farm and Dairy,
Grim
so
Reaper
yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta say, this one really hurts a little. Wow. I mean,
and we didn't talk about it today
like-
so that you would get like your
exactly.
reaction.
Like, I'm
So-
glad I didn't have you tell me about it earlier because I'm like almost, I don't know, like I feel like there's tears a little bit in my eyes
Yeah.
because I don't understand, obviously anybody that kills anything is awful, right? But yeah, just to like, let like animals like starve.
Mhm.
What a like horrific thing to do.
Yeah.
Wow, I really hope they figure out what
Yeah.
happened. So I'm
Yeah.
anxiously waiting for your next story on this,
Yeah,
Paul.
we'll see.
Yeah, awesome. Well,
Please
I
lift
will,
us back
listen, I'll
up.
try to uplift us.
Yeah.
In this week's issue, managing editor Sarah Welch, awesome reporter right there, and editor, takes us back in time with the ghost of Thanksgiving past.
Ooh, I'm on board.
Right?
Yeah.
To Mason Kismore, or to Kismore Family Farms, a turkey farm that's set on spreading goodwill through the dead but not forgotten tradition of giving turkeys for the holiday.
Oh, wow.
And you might wonder, that was a thing?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that was a thing because it's, as Sarah pointed out, before my time. But yeah, it was a thing. So the family first started giving turkeys as gifts in the 90s and early 2000s through 4-H. So for the family, the tradition, however, stems from the movie A Christmas Carol when Ebenezer Scrooge redeems himself, when he buys a prized turkey hanging in the window and sends it back to a family as a gift. So it's really just a gesture of goodwill that actually dates back to the 19th century when employers started gifting turkeys to immigrant workers as a way to kind of introduce them to American culture.
wow. Yeah.
So it really was like a tradition back in the day. But this has really stopped since the mid 1990s when the decline of U.S. manufacturing came, along with other, factors that kind of led to this tradition stopping. So in fact, turkeys have been, the amount of turkeys being raised has also declined. In 2025, this year, the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that this is the lowest in 40 years
wow.
numbers as far as turkeys being raised. Thanks in large part to the prevalence of bird flu, which we have covered lots, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But this hasn't stopped the Kismore family, though, who raises over 1,000 turkeys on their 15-acre farm every year for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a third of those turkeys actually go to local businesses, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So local businesses have all started kind of buying the Kismore's turkeys. Local employers have also kind of started buying the Kismore's turkeys for their employees again, kind of like back in the day that used to. International Enterprises is one of these companies, which according to one of their employees, this like whole tradition now has kind of created just a better workplace culture, in camaraderie. So the Kismores are actually currently taking turkey reservations for this Thanksgiving, with order pickups taking place from November 24th to 25th.
Okay.
Now, I didn't really talk a lot about how their operation works, and that's on purpose because I think you all should go and read Sarah's beautifully written story on the Kismore family farm, because I have to say I did really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just yeah, you can read it at farmandairy.com or find your local newsstand. And all I'll say is do not delay. The Kismore's turkeys are gobbled up very fast, it appears.
Yeah.
So get your farm fresh turkeys.
Oh, that sounds
They're
so nice.
yeah,
I'm hungry.
I know, right? For
My
turkey,
goodness. Yeah, I love turkey.
right?
So very much looking forward to that. Okay. Well, that's excellent. And I'm gonna have to give that a read too, honestly, because now I'm starting to think maybe I want one of these
Yeah.
turkeys for my dinner table.
It
But
was good too, and I
yeah.
also really liked how Sarah kind of really dove into the history element,
Yeah.
and then brought us up to date
Nice.
on like bird flu. It just like it had a lot of alongside it being like a really good like feature on
Yeah.
like what this family is doing. It also talks a lot about like the history and traditions in America
Nice.
and like current like turkey industry climate, which so it's very informative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay. Well, that was a good sell. So I will transition, I guess, to the auction section for a little bit here. And I wrote about for the cover of the auction page this week this training program that is changing the way that law enforcement officers handle mental health crises in Mahoning County in Ohio, which is cool.
yeah,
So I got a chance to attend this. Let me back up, actually. So Ryan Zagati, he's a police officer with the Milton Township Police Department, and he knows firsthand how important that training like that can really be and how valuable it is. He said that the training he received, it's called crisis intervention training. It has completely changed the way that he approaches calls involving people in distress, which is very valuable. And he was actually part of a group of officers who were recognized at a graduation ceremony on the 24th of October at the Public Library of Youngstown, which is lovely, by the way. It's a really
really.
beautiful building. Yeah.
Never been.
The 40-hour program that they go through is offered by the Mahoning County Mental Health and Recovery Board, and it's done in partnership with NAMI, which is the National Alliance on oh, I forget what they're that's an acronym. But NAMI, Mahoning Valley, and their whole goal is to strengthen connections between law enforcement, mental health providers, and people experiencing mental illness or crisis. So very cool and valuable. For Zagati, he told me that the lessons that he received and learned during the programming go way beyond like even just his professional role. He said it helped him also not only to approach people in crisis and like better inform that approach, but he also says that it helped him process trauma that he like takes and experiences from the job itself and like even like feel more comfortable with talking about it with people in his life who will listen, whether they're people that he works with or beyond. So, and that was like new for him, which was really cool. So he kind of sees himself in a different way from experiencing this training, which is really cool. The program, which is now in its 25th year in Ohio, ensures every law enforcement department in Mahoning County has at least one officer trained in crisis intervention, which is very, very cool. This year alone, two groups of officers have graduated from that training. And so let's see. Detective Sergeant Jerry Fulmer, he was the law enforcement coordinator for the program. He told me what started as a small initiative has really grown into like almost standard practice across all these departments now. An interest in the program I've learned is expanding just beyond police too. There's like dispatchers and even fire departments who have asked for this training as well. Mahoning County now offers 2 classes a year and they train about 40 officers each. And there's always like a wait list to get on it. So it's kind of cool.
Wow, that's awesome that there's like such a want,
Definitely.
when
Yeah.
there also is such a big need.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess the feedback that they've received so far from folks that I talked to on the recovery board shows that calls are handled more effectively now. People are really feeling like more happy about that. Families are connected to services more easily, and then officers are just better equipped to de-escalate situations. And they mix, as part of the program, they mix like classroom lessons with hands-on exercises, site visits like to different like places like group homes, and they were talking about other facilities. And then they do some role playing as well. Officers tour crisis units, jails, the rescue mission, and they even are able to sort of like do simulations of conditions like schizophrenia to better understand what people in crisis experience so they can like put themselves in the shoes of people in that state of mind. So it's a really cool program. You can check out the rest of my story and like learn more about it from the auction page. You can also go onto Mahoning County's Crisis Intervention Training Program. If you Google that, you can find out more information about it there on the internet. So
awesome. Sounds like a cool story and important.
What can I say?
Yeah. I love that. Awesome. Well, this week I wrote a fairly timely story.
Cool.
About two veteran brothers who started a hard cider business as part of their retirement project.
Way cool.
Yeah. So that is Joe and Dan Hulabeck. Hi, Lebec. Okay, I Google translated how this. It's Hulabeck, I think.
Okay.
So they founded Brother Monk Cider Works in 2017,
Nice.
but their farming roots go way back to their childhood, actually, in Nebraska. They were there. There they were raised on a dairy. There they raised dairy and beef cattle on a farm with their dad and picked fruit off of various fruit trees, including apples, which is kind of where this love of apples first began. But before getting into agriculture, the brothers had like just a different calling. Just like their dad, they wanted to go into the service. So both brothers would go active duty in the Navy for several years before taking jobs in Maryland and Washington, D.C.
Cool.
And then in 2009 was when the brothers really first kind of started experimenting with making fermented beverages like beer, wine, and cider. But as they neared retirement age, they knew doing nothing really just post-retirement wasn't possible. They were always doers, getting up early in the morning. So they bought a 24-acre farm in northern Cambria, Pennsylvania, which is Indiana County, and planted apple trees and named it Brother Monk Cider Works. Now, the name actually has a really interesting kind of background story. It actually originates 30 years earlier when Dan's wife, Dottie, were getting married. And Dottie said Dan was losing hair and looked like a monk.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? So when the time came to name the cidery, they named it Brother Monk Cider Works.
Oh, that's really cool.
Right? Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
And Joe said to me, he's like, yeah, I like to say that he's the monk and I'm the brother. And I was like, that's such a cute like coming about story, right? So their products can be found in various farmer markets and stores in Western Pennsylvania, and they include delectable sounding hard ciders like Dutch Run hard cider, black currant hard cider, hopped dry hard cider, and seasonal favorites like pumpkin spice and cranberry hard cider.
Ooh, okay.
So all sound really good.
Yeah.
Just you wait though. They also are be releasing a pear honey wine and an apple mead.
Oh my.
Which to me just sounds divine. That's the word that comes to mind when you put those words together for me.
For real. Yeah.
So to read more about Brother Monk Cider Works, how their operation kind of goes about, and what they do, you can visit farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand. And the story will just come out in time for Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to all veterans and families that are celebrating.
Indeed.
Which brings us to a point where we do our little take a break from news, and maybe we should chat.
Is there a sound for that?
Yeah, we should have like a sound. Yeah, definitely not one.
Take a break.
Take a break.
Look at that.
Oh, shit. Let's go.
That was fun.
Okay, so right here, Farm and Dairy, that is going to be a tradition.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyways, Paul, do you have any family members who served?
I do. I have two people that come to mind, and these are not the only two people in my family who have served. But one of the people that come to mind is my great uncle Mill, who was very Italian, and he was. I don't know why I had to include, but I just thought it was an important detail.
That makes sense though. Like knowing where you're from, like Italian makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. And he lived in Boston for many, many, many years. And I think at one point I did like a report on him for like a history class in my high school. And like, I recorded it. I like interviewed him about his service. And like the big story that I remember is that he actually was like, I think he was like, I'm going to mangle some of the facts, but like he was like in the air control tower. Like I think he worked for the Air Force, but like he didn't fly planes. He was like an air traffic controller. And there was like one night where someone was trying to fly home and they got lost and like they could not find the airport. And he was like, this person was panicking. Like this pilot was like, I don't know where I am. I'm going to miss the runway. And like, and there was like a storm or something, like there was something going on. I don't know where this was either. That's like another fact that's just like missing from my brain. But anyway, he was like the only person around, I guess. and was like, I'm just gonna help this guy fly home and like not die. And like he did that. And like this guy was just like just so grateful that like my great uncle helped him like reach the airport and
Did
in
your
one
great uncle
piece.
have flying experience?
I
Or
don't think so.
okay, but I say that's crazy just to be able to like
Yeah, he like
know.
did the navigation, I
Wow.
think, though, and like was able to be like, okay, you're here, because like back then that like they couldn't press buttons and things. Like it was all like take a and then draw a line, and then
Yeah.
you drew a ruler, and whatever, however it was. It
Wow,
was very
scary
different.
times.
Yeah. And then my dad is also the other person that I think of when I think of service, because he was in the Navy and he actually served on the USS Enterprise, which was an aircraft carrier. I don't know what happened to the Enterprise. It might still be around. I'm not really sure. I'm not brought up to speed on any of these things. I apologize. But anyway, my dad had fun stories. He was there during the 80s. So I don't think he ever saw like conflict or
Yeah,
anything.
but I say I think 80s was like a relatively
peaceful.
peaceful time.
But he was on the boat, and like I remember he had this one story about this guy that was like giving him a hard time, we shall say. And they were like wrestling, and like my dad's nose ended up like profusely bleeding from this. And this guy would like not leave my dad alone, and he like had a bloody rag. And he just like threw it in this guy's face because he was just like, this guy was like bothering him. And he was just, I don't know. He was just like, well, you know what?
Eat my blood.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh no. So that was one of the stories that my dad has from that experience. So what about you, Liz?
Well, both of my grandpas served. My dad's side, my pap and all of his brothers, they actually all served. I think maybe not all of them, but most of them did.
Wow.
And actually in Johnstown, every single year for Veterans Day, they have Brothers in Arms, and they have pictures of my pap and his brothers.
Very cool. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, and so my pap specifically served in the Korean conflict.
Nice.
And I actually recently just saw a story in, I think it was a Johnstown paper, Johnstown, Pennsylvania paper, and yeah, it was just kind of saying how Korea is actually giving out medals to Korean conflict war veterans, basically because they saved, South Korea from communism.
Wow.
So they kind of want to commemorate those. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. We might do that. And then my other pap, my mom's dad, he served like after World War II, like late 50s, I think early 60s. So, but he went over to Germany for a while. And one story I always remember, like him telling us, he's still alive, but he tells us the story all the time about how basically he could have died and we would never have existed.
Yeah.
Because one time I think he was like on a boat and he went to go, like it was at night, and he went to go look up to see what was going on. And it was super windy on the sea. And I don't know what happened, but he ended up like getting flung overboard and was like clinging for his life.
God.
Yeah, on the railing. And he had a second, he was just like, should I just let go? And then he didn't. He fought back and he got on board, and here I am today. I exist.
My goodness.
But yeah, just crazy when he tells that story, because it really, I mean, our entire family line would not exist if you chose differently. So thank you, Pat, for choosing to live.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you.
My goodness.
So yeah, those are my stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, thank you to all the veterans. Really appreciate your service and sacrificing your lives. Yes. And that is the end
of the break.
Yeah. Now back to some news. Paul, what do you got for us?
We just had to hit that sax one more
Just
time.
kidding.
Yes, I have one other thing to talk about. I think this was also from the auction section of the paper. So we have, I guess this week, some exciting updates from Ohio's state parks, which are just lovely natural spaces if you ever get to spend some time there. First off, at Portage Lake State Park in Akron, I've got a new development there. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources just cut the ribbon on their brand new visitor center over there. So that will be a fun place to visit. It's about 6,000 square feet. It sits right by the Turkey Foot Lake Beach. And is designed to be a welcoming gateway for everyone. It features interactive exhibits that explore the park's history, from Native American portage paths to its role in Ohio's canal system, which is cool. And visitors can enjoy, obviously, sweeping views of Turkey Foot Lake, and they can relax at new picnic tables. But there's also a new ADA switchback sidewalk for easy access. So everybody's welcome. and everybody can get over there to check it out. And if you're thinking ahead for the holidays, as Liz even just reminded me earlier, we're talking about Sarah's story about the turkeys and all of that, which is really cool. So I'm definitely thinking about like all of this now. Ohio State Park Lodges have you covered for Thanksgiving.
Ooh, love
November,
it.
yeah. On November 27th, several lodges are going to host buffets with beautiful views of the park, where you can enjoy a traditional Thanksgiving meal and then also take a scenic little hike or participate in like holiday activities. Some of the lodges serving up the feasts include Burr Oak, Deer Creek, Houston Woods, Hocking Hills, Maumee Bay, Mohican, Punderson Manor, Salt Fork, Shawnee, and the Lodge at Geneva. Most require reservations, so be sure to call ahead. Some lodges even offer take-home options for your holiday table as well, for those of you that don't want to be
Awesome.
dining in person. And of course, if you want to make it a full getaway, overnight stays are available at many of these lodges. So that's really cool. For more info on like visiting the lakes or making Thanksgiving reservations, you can check out Ohio DNR's website and greatohiolodges.com, or just just open your farm and dairy, because you can find it there too. And info. So yeah, definitely worth a
Cool.
look. And yeah,
Yeah.
what a better way to, what a more beautiful, surroundings
For
and
Thanksgiving.
environment.
Yeah.
For
Being in the
Thanksgiving.
woods and stuff.
Right.
How awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I got one more story for us, Paul.
Excellent.
Yes. So it also in our auction section this week, Matt Christian, who's the director of Richland Soil and Water Conservation District, wrote about why you should leave the leaves. Leave the leaves,
Right.
people.
Leave the leaves.
So he says the most socially acceptable way typically is to get rid of dead leaves, by burning them or raking them up and putting them in bags. But Christian suggests, why not leave them? People usually are concerned that leaves will choke out their grass or plants.
Yeah.
But he says this is kind of a myth because when leaves fall naturally, they typically don't create a thick enough layer to actually kill vegetation.
Right.
Instead, the leaves will offer a habitat to many wildlife species, and as they break down over fall and winter, they will provide organic matter nutrients to your soil. But if you don't really like the look or you're not really sure, he gives you some suggestions of what you could do.
Cool.
So if you are concerned that the leaves will kill your lawn, he suggests mowing the leaves to help break them up. Or if you don't like how they look, you can blow them into a compost pile somewhere,
Okay.
which would still provide the soil and wildlife benefits.
All right.
He also suggests that you could rake the leaves and save them for winter mulch over your flower beds. And he provides some of these, some more tips as well in our auction section this week. So if you want to know what to do with those leaves that isn't just disposing of them for no reason, or, no good reason at least, then you can check out the story in auction this week.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gonna do it. I'm gonna have to give this issue of the paper to my neighbor and be like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
About the leaves or the whether my lawn is an inch taller than hers next door.
Yeah. You're like, I don't want to see those leaves in a plastic bag.
Just FYI. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do it. Awesome.
Anyway.
Well, that is our top stories for the week.
Indeed. And to read more, please visit farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand.
And thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next week.
Bye for now.